$575,912.71. EFTs, $77,326.21, for a total of $653,238.92.
Move to approve.
Support.
Any discussion?
I see we're paying off one of the leases, we got one lease left, is that true?
Yes.
Yes. Anything else? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
Did we do this, huh?
Should be a DLT, yeah.
Look, Mike, I haven't,
Oh.
sorry.
Missing places or signs there. Yeah, they got, how about Gary signed as vice chairman?
Hold the wrong stamp factor
Yeah,
out.
yeah, you know, three spots, spaces instead of five.
I'll just
Just,
put mine right in there like that.
yeah.
That's what I'll do. We'll leave Gary's spot.
Oh.
Adapt, overcome, improvise.
You ever spend any time in the military?
No, but I grew up with a World War II veteran for a father. I didn't have to join the military.
That was enough of a regiment to follow.
His favorite saying was, "You better get to moving or there's gonna be a big operation." And I say, "What was that? Getting my foot out of your heart."
Yeah.
The backside, right?
And I got to move.
Sometimes I didn't move fast enough.
That's right, and you got it anyway. Yeah.
Oh, payroll dated July 18th for a total of $137,021.90.
I move we pay the payroll for $137,021.90.
Are there two payrolls or just the one?
Should be just one.
And
Okay.
my total is different than that.
Yeah, $136,227.62.
I will remind her to double check it again, because I asked her specifically to make sure your numbers matched, and I guess she didn't.
So we've got to do a correction here?
Well, we can correct it
Okay.
on the agenda,
Actual's 130.
and I'll have her correct it on the agenda before it gets posted.
So what is that?
It's whatever's on that that payroll.
Is it the July 18th payroll? Cause this says July 27th. The check register, I guess I've never.
It should be, I guess she didn't update that line on the agenda.
So this should be July 27th?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the dollar amount on the tape here is 136,227.62.
It didn't, when she did the agenda, she did not update that line.
Okay.
This is the amount.
That is the amount on the payroll register.
136,2.
136.
227.62.
And I amend my motion.
For the July 27th payroll in the amount of 136.
227.62.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have support on that.
Now support that.
Any more discussion? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion
I mean, I was looking at the agenda.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the payroll.
Well, I happened to catch that, but well, that's not the same amount, and I'm trying to
That's-
remember. Is there
that's
another
why-
one? Is there a reason why it's off? And
That's
Mary
why
got
it's
the
good
question
to
out
have,
before I did.
that's why it's good to have an accountant on the board.
Yes.
Well, it's good that people are looking, I like that.
Yeah.
This one's nuts. Oh, I know, I got two of them. Okay. Well, one of these has to move on, and one, yeah. Mary wants to decide on those two.
100%.
That it for them? Treasurer's report.
Beginning cash and investment balance is $2,339,762.17. Total receipts is $842,131.79. Total bills and payroll is $789,466.54. Bonds and escrow is $10,250. CD reserve for 2 trucks is $651,282.82. Ending available fund balance is $1,730,894.60. Total outstanding accounts payable is $53,739.36.
You don't think it's a credit?
No, it's not.
Oh.
It didn't get,
Okay.
I know it's
I was
not a
wondering why there was such a big credit.
No.
It's not a credit.
credit. It's not a credit.
Okay.
Any questions? If not, stand adjourned. Thank you. All right, we've got a few minutes, we can jump to public comment. Any public comment? Alan?
Doug, when I heard good to see all those orange trucks out there on Banker Road, I didn't know you guys had so many trucks.
You sure they're ours?
Yes, I am.
Oh, I just,
Branch County did that over here.
I drove by and I read the sign.
anybody else? Doug, anything? No? Oh, that's short public comment. Oh. Want to give us some lowdown?
Yeah, I'm starting. All of our paving that was contracted to the townships this year is done. They fixed North Adams Road at Somerset, that bad dip that was there that had caused a couple accidents yesterday. Today they're fixing a bad spot on Jerome Road, just south of Wood Road, where the road's dipped off real bad in that swampy spot. That's about it for the paving. We've got a few cross cuts to pave in where we change tubes, but for the majority of the paving, that's done. The ditching in Litchfield Township on Sterling Road, all the ditching and deep berming is done on Sterling. We haven't hauled the gravel yet. We started hauling Monday, but got rained off. We've got a few touch-up spots where that heavy rain washed out, but pretty much Sterling Road, once we get the gravel on it, will be done. Gravel patching and limestone patching is all completed. Scraping, everything has been scraped for the first application of brine. The brine right now is in Camden Township, and they should finish that today or tomorrow, and then everybody will have their first application. And then next week, we'll start on the second, scraping for the second application. They're crack sealing on Reading Road still. I think they've got about a mile left to do till they get Reading Road done. And then we'll see where we're at as far as seal coat, if we have enough people to keep running the crack sealer until we get done seal coating. We may have to stop crack sealing until we get finished seal coating. Shoulders, they should be finishing up Bankers Road today. We had a loader break down that we pushed the shoulder machine with, so we hadn't been back out there to get them finished. They should finish them today. When we get Bankers Road finished, we're gonna stop doing shoulders and get the hitches put on the trucks to start chip seal, because not next week, but the following week, we're planning on starting our chip seal. Asphalt materials is supposed to come in next week, I think Tuesday, and make sure our chip spreader's calibrated like it's supposed to be. And then when we start, we're kind of figuring on starting on the 19th, they're gonna come back and make sure the truck is calibrated when we start. That way we can just do it out on the road and not have to try to find
Right.
somewhere with the required amount of footage to do the measurements. So he said it'd just be easier to calibrate the truck when we started seal coating. I believe, and we, changed cross tube in catch basin on Russ Dick Drive where it was flooding. And the property owner put new tile to the ditch. So that job's done. We ditched where the flooding was, so that should take care of the flooding on Russ Dick. Other than that, that's about everything we've done, and we're gonna be starting chips seal, so that'll pretty much take everybody till we get done chip sealing.
I have a couple of questions. So are we gonna chip seal any of Montgomery Road that's been blacktopped in recent
Not this
years?
year.
Okay,
It's kinda on the docket for next year.
okay,
We wanna do Camden Road and Montgomery Road next year.
okay.
What about North Evans?
That'll be next year. Bankers Road is gonna get chip sealed this year because we are getting some type of safety grant where they're gonna put the rumble strip down the yellow line. So they're doing that this year, so we have to chip seal it this year, so we don't just fill up the rumble strip next year
Right.
with,
Good
chip
idea.
seal. So that one will be, that'll be like the third road we're gonna do, redo Bacon and Bun, and then go do Bankers. So that when they're ready to come in and do that safety grant, we're done there.
So as far as the brine, you said you're nearly finished in Camden, and that'll be every township?
Every township will have
First time
had their
over.
brine, their first application.
So did we do Amboy before Camden or Woodbridge
Yes.
before Camden?
Yes, they did Amboy, then Woodbridge, and now they're in Camden.
Okay,
We went right across that bottom,
Yep.
bottom tier.
And now you're starting back.
We'll start back over, I think there's five or six townships that are doing 2 applications, and Fayette is doing 3 applications.
I probably don't have to tell you that all the gravels need to be re-scraped.
Yep,
Yeah.
and yesterday we actually, went and fixed washouts, scraped washouts from the heavy rains.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Couple of them I didn't want to because they had just been sprayed, but I can't leave them big washouts either, so.
Well,
And we've only had a couple complaints that we were scraping roads that were just sprayed, but.
Well, it's 10:15, so we can open the bids for Denver Bridge filing deck installation.
The first one's from Millbacher.
Who?
Millbacher?
Millbacher.
Yep. Looks like that you guys just want a total bid price, or do you want the individual items?
Probably total, that's
Okay.
all fine out.
The total bid price is $80,500.
And this is for the pile driving on the timber bridge?
Correct, and setting the structure.
Okay, and that was 80,000?
80,500. This one is from Adams Marine Construction out of Bentwater. driving timber piles, they said a unit price of $100. I'm not sure if that is each or per lineal feet, they did not specify that. Setting the deck is $15,000 lump sum. And mobilization is $26,000 lump sum.
Could you repeat the setting, please?
Setting the deck was $15,000 lump sum.
Is there anyone here from Adams? We don't know what that's for.
Correct. I don't know how that works legally, but we'd have to reach out and get more information on that.
Do you want me to have Karen do it real quick?
Yeah.
We can.
What was the motive?
The mobilization was $26,000.
Yeah, we need to
Do
do
they
that.
have contact information on there?
I would assume they
Well,
fill
that
it.
$100 is gotta be per,
It's either each or per
Fine.
lineal foot.
I bet it's each.
Here's the phone number. So
Yeah, they should have gave us
How many are there?
there are 16 piles.
It's gonna be more than $60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can't be, that can't be per.
It's gotta be per foot.
Per lineal foot, I'm sure.
Do we know how many
And that would
lineal feet?
depend on the length that they have to drive them.
Yeah, so it's up in the air on that one.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be pretty.
So how can the other one be a fixed number from Millbacher if it's per lineal foot and they don't know how many lineal feet they're going?
Oh, and this one for Millbacher, their individual ones was, they gave us a price for assisting panel placement, and that was $82.50. Cap placement for bearing, which they added that because that's what they did last time. We
Right.
did not include that in the bid
Right.
that we asked for. So that was $4,750 for that. And then install timber piling 8 each side includes mobilization is $67,500. So if you take their $80,500, you would want to deduct the $47.50 because that's not comparing apples to apples with everybody else. They included that because they did it last time. But I'm assuming that they figured it similar to their previous years. That's what I would have to assume. That's why they had a better idea of.
Millbacher did Camden.
Yes, they did.
Yes, that's what I mean. So they probably based it on that information is all I can think of. Okay, this one is from, I have no idea, Toledo Caisson Corporation? Caisson. Caisson. Toledo Caisson Corporation. Okay, their prices for driving timber piles, $3,500 each. Setting the deck was $6,000 lump sum. Mobilization, $5,000 lump sum.
How many pilings?
16.
3,500 times 16. That would be $56,000 for the timber piles driving them. Plus the 6,000, plus the 5,000. That total should be 67,000. Yep. 56,000. So that's Toledo. And this is E.T. McKinsey, which is the last one here.
Where are they out of?
Grand Ledge.
And I assume Toledo Caisson was out of Toledo?
That would be my
Ottawa Lake,
guess.
Michigan.
What's that?
Ottawa Lake, Michigan.
Ottawa Lake, Michigan.
Okay,
It's just north of Toledo.
now where that's at?
Yeah.
I was there just the other day. And Wayne's towing bid.
We don't have it all, cause we don't know how much they're gonna total for the driving and timber piles.
Karen's calling right now.
Yeah, and if it's $100 per linear foot, we don't know how many linear feet they're gonna drive on.
Right.
Gotta send you to school to find out how to read their estimates.
Probably
Well, this was all of our bid spec that we sent them.
They
So
sent
they,
that.
and sent it back, cause there's different stuff that they had to fill out.
Page 16.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there you go. They just did a lump sum of $68,785. $68,785.
That's E.T. McKenzie.
That is correct. And that is it for Hog Creek.
So you said Millbacher also added an additional $47.50 for what?
The caps. Cap placement for bearing, $47.50. So you can deduct that from their $80,500 total.
What does that mean, cap placement for bearing?
Across the piles that they drive,
Yep,
there's like a big header.
okay,
They call that the cap.
okay,
They come in and they cut the piles all to the same height and they set that one piece header, so
Okay.
to speak, and get that nailed in and
okay.
to the right height.
So, the rest of the bids don't have that in there?
That is correct.
But we
And
didn't
why
have-
wouldn't that be part of our specs? It sounds like you have to do that to set your bridge.
Cause we could do
Cause
it.
we could do it, but with
They
the,
just did
it's
it for us.
easier with
Yes.
their crane
Yes.
and they've built so many of them.
Okay,
It was a thing we were new to. I mean, we've built 4 or 5 of these bridges, but they've built so many of them, it's like second nature to them and they,
Just that.
Can you give me a total for Millbacher,
Millbacher's total with the optional cap,
with taking that off?
okay,
I think it's
80,500 minus
75,750.
4750, should be $75,750.
But that's them not placing the cap.
Right.
That is correct, which nobody else is
Nobody
placing that either, so that would be your apples to
Did
apples
we
number.
find out about Adams?
She called and left a message, they did not answer.
so if we go with a lower bid and we want them to set the cap, we don't know what that will be.
That is correct.
But it wasn't in the spec.
It wasn't in the spec
So we
though, so
can't-
we really can't even include that number at all.
Well, and if you look at Millbacher's bid without the cost of setting the cap, they're still higher than
Correct.
the other two that have complete bids.
Are we capable of setting the cap?
We've done it before.
we've done it on them before. It was just, they were there, we had a fairly new crew on that job, the crane was there. They said they didn't have a problem doing it, so they cut all the poles at the proper height and set it.
We do have to make a decision today, because the bridge is coming before the next meeting.
Have we dealt with Toledo Quezon or E.T. McKenzie?
Mackenzie, yes, Quezon, no.
Is there a representative from Toledo Quezon here?
Right.
Is there a representative from E.T. McKenzie? Yep. Okay, so they could both give us, or answer, they could either give us a synopsis and or answer questions.
Yes. Right.
So in terms of setting this cap, is this something that your company has the capability of doing?
Very much. Absolutely. We are doing bridges all over the country, Mobile, Alabama, Chambersburg, Pennsylvania right now, Flint, Michigan. We do tons of civil contracting all over the country. probably 25 or 30 cranes, fleet of drill rigs, probably 10 acres worth of machinery if it was all in one spot.
What do you guys think your estimate would be for setting that bearing on these piles?
Just setting the bearing, cutting off the pile to grade and setting the cap. Oh,
We don't.
I didn't do the bid, but I'm sure that's not in the specs.
Yeah.
That's not in your specs.
No.
I'd have to get back with Jim Bennett, the owner, could get back with you on that.
Great.
But they're absolutely, I mean, this would be a minor job in their scope of work. A lot of work in the refineries and all over. So the rig that was there, the service rig or the drill rig, would stay and set the grade beams.
Mackenzie, what would you estimate?
I'd have to give you, I'd have to check too for a firm answer, but it wouldn't be a very involved process. Like he said, the equipment's there already, it's just a matter of suspending it from the crane. Could be done in conjunction with Hillsdale County personnel or with our own crew.
But to be
At
fair,
a very reasonable cost. I mean, you're not talking about a lot of time.
just to be fair, mailbox, you know.
And the latest update from Kren was that the bridge is looking more like end of August, middle of September that it would even be here. It wouldn't necessarily be here before your next meeting. It could come anytime. He said if everything worked absolutely perfect, it would be here the end of August. But he said, Charlie even read into it and said, I would expect it to be the middle of September.
Okay.
So we've got some time before it's gonna be here.
So the question I have is if we were to wait until our next meeting on the 22nd, is that something that any of these three firms could?
Would it mess with their scheduling though,
Yeah,
to wait?
that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah. What way?
And Adams came back and said it's per lineal foot.
How do
Their
we know-
price is per
how do
lineal
we
foot.
know how many lineal feet it is?
You got a max of 30 foot for your abutment piles and a max of 20 foot for your wing wall piles.
Right.
We'll figure that quick.
Sure, no pressure.
Nothing to it, right?
Right. Stop, don't put any more pressure on me. So. Feel free to talk about something else, guys.
Yeah.
We're listening to the calculator.
Well, at max, it'd be 48,000.
See, she's quicker.
16 piles at 30 feet times 100 is $3,000 per.
Okay.
So at max, it'd be 48. It should be a little less. I don't know what's the difference between the 20 foot versus the 30 foot. I don't know how many of them are. I don't know if it's half and half or 4 and, yeah, I don't know.
Right.
So at
48,
48 plus
68,
15,
52, 62, 67.
89,000.
Yeah.
Highest there is.
Well, they're also coming from Pentwater. They're coming from Australia. Well, I don't know where mailbox.
Now, would you come up with that?
Are they coming?
Sure.
from both?
Or did you quit?
I quit.
Are they coming
She
by
does
boat
this
or
tab.
what?
Yeah, I
That's
don't
something
know.
you could,
It's not gonna be exact because
or you put around.
you're gonna have to figure max. Because that's, it might not be that maximum number, but yes, we'll be able to have a maximum number for the.
So for the 12 abutment piles, you got 360 linear feet max. For the 8 wing wall piles, you have another 160 feet. So 360 plus 160, it's 520 times $100 a linear foot, it's $52,000.
Now, see how easy he did that?
Yeah,
Yeah, let him do it.
too much pressure.
I kind of do it every day.
Makes a difference.
Well, I had a sneaky suspicion that their breakdown of the quotes for setting the deck and the mobilization were substantially higher than Toledo Quezon, for example. I had a feeling that the total on the footage for driving the pilings is gonna be higher too, so, you know, it doesn't, I guess. Just taking a look at some of the numbers, does surprise me they're bid so high.
I think we really do probably ought to make a decision, cause I don't know what time frame we're on.
We don't need to,
As far as the bridging and everything at the same time.
Before you make a decision, do we have to open the other bids?
Oh, there are other bids?
10:30?
Well,
That's for aggregate.
Right,
Yeah.
but do we have to open them at 10:30?
Right.
Yes, we
after
do.
Okay.
10:30.
I'm sorry.
so we're gonna leave this open.
For the moment.
We're
Just for the moment
All
while
right.
we open these bids.
We'll come back to it.
Right.
I forgot about 10:30.
Yep.
oh, well, we gotta get that.
Is there, do we have somebody that's actually gonna write these down, so I don't have to?
So I have a thought before we open these bids. So you two gentlemen, could you make a telephone call and get us a quote for what it would cost to set the caps? So that we could know that within 15 minutes.
Absolutely. I'll be right back.
Doesn't that seem reasonable?
Yeah,
Do we
Very
know?
good.
because people are very close and
Yeah.
although but they both know the information, so.
Last year,
We
when
will.
we did this, Bob opened them, looked at them, and then he approved them as whatever, approved
We
them all
approve them
as.
all, yeah.
Because last year we did not read through each individual, and then whoever wanted it, Karen filled all this out, and it got emailed out to them.
Right, right.
Yeah, forever to do this.
We would approve.
Right.
Okay, so this is Stone Co.
People for somebody else.
Okay.
So do you want her to read through every single one of them, or do
No.
how we did last year?
Yeah, what do you do then?
We read them, didn't we?
We didn't read them all.
What did we do last year?
Last year, we approved, he didn't read every single one of these, he approved all of
We
them
approved
to
them
be
all.
as
Oh,
what
we
fits for
approved
the,
all of the bids.
yes,
And then we
What
would
works
just
best.
select the cheapest one for the
For-
material we
Yeah.
buy.
For township
and
road,
then
like-
Karen filled out this form, so whoever that needed it had it, and then I had it attached to her minutes and made it available for
Sound
whoever
good?
needed it.
Sounds good to me.
Okay,
So moved.
so we have a bid from Stone Co.
And then I can have it available for whoever wants it.
Right.
Once it gets filled in, I can take their information. That's a lot of,
If they get it filled in, can you email me?
yeah, I can email it to everybody. It'll be in the minutes too for you guys who for the next board meeting.
I can't help it, I gotta read through these pages and see where it's coming from. There's no name though. For the company.
So overall, while she's doing that, can you give me an overview as to why it's done by Hillsdale Garage, Osseo Pit, so on and so forth, and then by Stone Co. of Shannon, Carr Brothers, Siegel, Gerken, and Van Brunt?
Mileage.
Some will deliver it to specific garages, some won't, some only give pickup prices. Some will only bid on specific material,
Okay,
and it's whatever
Benefits us.
benefits us, so if we're in
Say
by
right
Osseo
township.
Pit, and that's where it would have just that specific material dumped there if that, we chose that.
and these bid prices that they give us does not require us to exclusively buy all materials
No.
from them?
No.
Okay, alright,
Carr Brothers was the other one, and Shannon Excavating was the third. So you got Stone Co., Carr Brothers, and Shannon Excavating.
and the other
Van
one's
Brunt
Van
didn't bid?
Nope,
That's where we get our limestone.
nope. That's all the bids we have.
Van Brunt didn't bid for limestone?
Just those three.
Was
He
he,
must be making too much money hauling grain.
was he sent a bid?
I would assume.
We're,
I would
No
hope,
idea.
because George asked me the other day if we were gonna start stockpiling ahead of time.
Yeah, I don't understand that one.
Those are the three.
Huh.
and who's to say that any of those other ones even bid limestone?
Right.
Well, but Van Brunt has hauled
Forever. That's
limestone
what,
for
People
years.
didn't even bid, so.
I move to approve all three
Nothing
bids.
for Durkin?
before we do that, I do have Larry Siegel called me a couple days ago, and he didn't bid on it, but the sand is available. If in an emergency situation, the loader would be there and the sand is available in an emergency situation.
So with Van Brunt, we pay him to haul in the limestone. Do we actually buy the limestone from him as well? Yes, okay.
Carr Brothers did not bid limestone.
Stone Cold probably did. I would
Shannon
think.
didn't either.
Yeah, Shannon wouldn't.
Who is this one? Stone Co did. Bid it.
So we're gonna let it bid
It's
on.
just the crowd.
This is delivered, there's prices on delivered
Okay, that's,
That's not
for
right.
Stone Co,
I just
so.
wanted to make sure that Stone
Yep.
Cold didn't just price the material and not.
Nope. And then,
If we approve all bids, it don't matter whether they bought it from them, or we didn't, or they delivered, or they didn't. Well, they'll pick whichever one's the cheapest one when they decide who they're gonna take.
So because it was a bid process, can Van Brunt submit something separately, I mean subsequent to?
Probably not now, just past the date.
Mm-hmm, cause those take sealed bids as of today.
But if we approved all of them, it's not like we're picking one over the other, so can we add to that? I don't know.
It's not fair to the other bidders, cause they had a deadline to,
and who's to say the information couldn't have got snuck out to them?
that
They
these
could have
guys
made their
are-
bid lower than
Right.
these bids, so we can't, legally, I don't think that that's appropriate.
I would guess that he didn't get the.
That's what I'm guessing.
My thought is, I think we need to reach out to
Van Brunt?
Ben Brunt and, put this bidding back for 2 weeks.
But we've opened them, does that
Yeah.
matter? I don't know, this is a new one on me.
Yeah.
We open them, it's gonna be posted, again, then that information is out to,
Right. I think you gotta take the bids that you got. Yep. And that's what you gotta use.
So where is, if Stone Co's the only one that has bid limestone, Van Brunt usually only does limestone, what is that price this year as compared to last year? And, I mean, because I'd hate to just go with that and find out it's ungodly higher than what we've been paying,
Do you
and
remember
say that
what
we're stuck with that.
Van Brunt's like 23, 24.
For 23A limestone delivered to the Hillsdale garage, it is $24.75.
And we don't usually have it delivered here, so what about the outside pits?
Yeah, the only
But it don't
thing-
matter,
To
if they
Osseo Pit, still $24.75.
So then there we go.
Watkins is $26.45. Stevens Pit is $24.25. Pittsford Pit is $24.25.
I'm gonna call Dave and ask why he didn't bid.
McClellan is
But no matter what-
$26.45.
What if he never got the packet?
It don't matter, we opened the bids.
Yeah, but what if he never got the
I
packet?
think we have
Was the package sent?
the ability to,
Then should we ask them to rebid? I don't know, I don't know what's right.
I don't know how this process goes.
Just find out from Dave.
I want to see what.
I mean, it would seem to me, we could say, we're gonna rebid the thing.
Well,
Ow,
here's my thinking, Van Brunt
we can't.
Call Dave.
doesn't have
Not
limestone,
right.
he buys his from Stone.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, does
So
he
either
buy,
way, Stone Co's getting, so it's just the trucking.
does he buy it from Stone Co. or does he buy it from some other?
Well, he
Yeah.
goes
I
to
believe
Toledo,
this
he
comes
gets,
right out of Stone. I don't know that for
he gets
sure.
it, he gets it right out of the
I just can't believe
pit
it.
at,
He's hauled our limestone for the last 3 or 4 years and did he did.
yeah.
Or-
Cause see, he's doing the backbone.
Okay, so my question is, if he buys it from Stone Co., did he bid it separate, or did we just buy it from Stone Co. and Stone Co. hires him to haul it? I don't know, I don't know.
He bids it separate.
He bids it separate,
Yes.
okay, alright. Then again, I don't know the answers to these questions.
Bob's trying to find out.
And for me, part of the concern I have is, you know, if we go with somebody else, do they have the capability of hauling all the limestone we need on a timely basis?
Exactly, that's,
And
We
would,
did run into that.
and if we go with Stone Co., if they're the only ones that give us a number, do they subcontract the hauling, or do they haul it themselves? I don't know if they have trucks.
They might do that too.
So maybe Van Brunt
Maybe-
is in cahoots with Stone Co., and
That's
that's
what
why they're
I'm
doing
kind of
it.
alluding.
Maybe,
to.
I don't know.
It's all speculation.
Right, it's all, again, cause I don't know if Stone Co. has their own trucks, or if they subcontract that, so.
I mean, this is
if
for,
they gave us a delivery price, then that, all the trucking is in that.
Correct, but I don't know if Stone Co. has Stone Co. trucks that hauls it, or they would subcontract it to Van Brunt.
Yeah.
So Van Brunt's still hauling it,
Still.
potentially, I don't know,
Mhm.
that's why I'm asking
But we'll
questions.
find
I
out.
don't know either.
Yeah.
I learned.
The fact remains, we put bids out, we advertised them at a certain date at a certain time,
Yeah, you're-
you gotta follow.
Just mailing it was not the
35
only,
minutes.
was not the only way. It went to MIDA, it went to the website, and the newspaper, and we mailed out.
I agree with that.
You have
It's the
to.
rules.
Yeah,
Follow.
everybody's, we gotta follow the
We can't make
rules.
an exception.
But let's I'm still kind of curious.
Mhm.
I'd like to find out if we could get wait for 5 minutes.
No better than the mail system around here is.
Yes.
Get stuff 3 months later after you mail it.
Mhm.
I ordered a pair of shoes out of Wisconsin a couple of years ago when COVID was on. And I finally went to the post office in Jonesville, and it was coming from Wisconsin. And I asked them if the ship sank coming across Lake Michigan, because I hadn't found out where my shoes were. It was like 3 or 4 months. The guy says, I know where your shoes are. The postmaster said, they're in a semi-trailer up at Allen Park. I finally got them. I hated them then.
Needing them. Hate to be needing them real bad.
Yeah. Oh, I got special feet. My mother always used to say she would try to hit buying boxes, buying underwear instead of the shoes.
So it's just more liquid, which is fine. But
Anyway, send her to on the back.
Well, what's the difference between 23A limestone and H1 limestone?
Kevin,
Kevin, phew. What's the difference between 23A limestone and H1 limestone?
I don't know what the H1 is, a
that
lot
the
of
more
it's the size of the stone and how much like crusher dust
Right.
is in it.
How much dust is in it?
So we primarily buy 23A limestone.
23A is what we buy for our limestone
We're-
patching.
We're gonna have to accept the bids we've got.
Right.
Didn't want to, but I called Bob says we have to.
Okay.
We'll accept any and all.
Each one is a coarser stone.
H1 is of course a stone. I've never heard.
I'm so moved.
I'll support.
Any more discussion? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
Okay, we got that done.
Bill? Yeah.
so we
no
had,
idea, that's all I heard.
so we had bids from Stone Co. and Shannon and
Car brothers.
Car Brothers.
I mean, like,
And not, I don't
I'll
know,
let her sew.
if she'll take this
I'll
off,
let her sew.
just because that's my maiden name. Right.
Right. So Gherkin, is that the pit there in Jonesville?
Yes.
And how big are they? How come
And
they
they,
didn't
and they
put
have
a,
a pit down on,
Campbell Road.
so how come they
Sure.
didn't put a bid in for anything? I mean, does that
Probably
make
busier
sense?
than heck,
Right.
or so busy they can't.
yeah, and a lot of, like their pea stone and stuff. Down there on Trip Road, that's all spoken for at Menards.
Oh, why does Menards buy a lot of
Their cement factory is what I was told.
Menards, the,
At the distribution thing, they make cement blocks or something
oh,
there.
Okay.
okay, alright, didn't know that.
They,
He never received a bid, and neither did Gherkin.
Didn't receive them.
How many others did we send out?
That Karen did it, I don't know.
We never-
I'm of the opinion, I know we voted to approve these bids, but I really think, you know, we should have rejected the bids and rebid them.
Because, even Gherkin didn't, Dave called Gherkin, they never got a bid sheet or a bid tab.
I don't know how to go about this. To me, it's like we did a sealed bid, said they were due today.
But if they never received it,
But it's also advertised on MIDA and things like that to where that
Right.
goes out
It's
to those
open.
businesses,
Sure,
it's
Everybody
everybody.
gets it.
Just because.
Because then it's
what-
not fair
It's
to
not
these
fair that
people
we
that
didn't
bid.
randomly mail it to somebody else that we don't normally do business with, but we just mailed it to the normal people. But
Right.
if the mail's slow and it didn't get to them, they still can get it on MIDA, they can get it on our website, they can get it on Cray.
they don't go to that.
I know,
So
but,
if anybody would, it'd be Gherkin,
right,
and they don't go to it,
Right.
if they never got a bid tab.
right.
Because we usually have a lot more bidders than what we got.
Do we ask our legal counsel whether we can, not accept these bids and rebid it?
Was there language in the bid that said we have the right to reserve, we reserve the right to reject any and all bids?
We've always got that.
Right. Well, I gotta verify, and assume. I didn't do the bid. I know nothing.
That's,
What is in this bid?
We voted on a motion to approve it.
Yeah.
I know, it's
We
already.
can rescind.
But
Yeah,
we can rescind it.
And,
Let me call Bob and see what he says.
Yeah.
If you guys can go ahead.
I mean, these prices are for next year, right? They're not for this year.
Right.
Yeah, therefore, we're trying to get them earlier this year, so when we do township agreements, we have the
Yeah.
correct information.
right, and they,
if they did a rebid, these three companies who submitted bids would have that information as well
Yeah.
to work off of it and resubmit bids.
Yeah, exactly.
They would, but when we post the board meeting online, all those other companies have access to what they bid, and then,
Correct, that's
Bid
what
less.
I understand, but, and again, Bob's talking about.
yeah.
But this information would be available to everybody, it's not like it's just the
Oh,
people
no.
in this room have that information or anything. So,
After the board meeting, yes.
yeah,
but they do have their own cost of production and everything, so I mean, they're not gonna slit their throat just to get.
no. And they already know that we're gonna accept all bids,
Mm-hmm.
we're not just gonna accept one bid. So, but anyway, I don't know, we're getting guidance here, we'll see what.
If you vary from the fact that we had a bid price, a time, and a day, if you vary from that, that can happen all year long.
mm-hmm.
And it can happen to everybody, anytime, no reason for having a bid process anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess my thinking is, you know, if you're putting these in the mail and you're just sending them out first-class mail, in today's first-class mail, the reliability of it getting
It's in the paper too, isn't it?
delivered.
There's an ad in the paper too.
Well,
Who
how many-
reads the Hillsdale
Yeah,
paper
exactly.
anymore?
I'm just saying,
That's
that's what we
all-
do.
No,
That's
I
all
understand,
it's
I get it.
I understand what your policy is, you know, and I understand that people are responsible, I get that. But we also know that our first class mail is
Oh,
not
yeah.
what it used to be. And so, for those that we actually send bid packages to, do you follow up at least with one phone call and say, hey, we sent this out, did you receive it? And then at least there's communication.
I've got the wording right here. It says, first of all, it says the contract will be awarded to the most responsible bidder whose bid conforming to this solicitation will be most advantageous to the county, price and other factors considered. The county reserves the right to accept or reject any or all bids and to waive informalities and irregularities in bids or bid procedures and to accept any bid determined by the county to be in the best interest of the county, even though not the lowest bid.
Okay,
And it says the county reserves the right to postpone the bid opening for their own convenience. And the county reserves the right to reissue the request for bid.
So,
we're
there
gonna
you go.
rescind our vote,
Okay.
first of all, we'll have to have a motion to rescind that vote.
I so move.
I'll support the motion.
Any more discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Then we will, put it out for bids at a later date.
Okay.
Bob seemed very unusual that we didn't get bids from all these others.
Yep.
And
Yeah, it's right in the bid papers that went out, it says that, so I think we're
Ken
covered.
said even Becker Scrivens puts in it.
Right.
Yeah, back to
Mm-hmm.
Scrivens. So we need to make
Well, they
sure.
weren't even, this, okay, all right.
I think we need to go back to last year's and send it to everybody.
That's what she did, well,
But I think
Um,
that somebody's comment, maybe Kathy or whatever, is that, you know, after it gets sent out a few days later, somebody on our end needs to take the time to make a telephone call to every one of these organizations and make sure they receive the bid package.
I have to
Is
do that for checks anymore.
Is it possible we can still mail them, but why not send them through email? A lot of people communicate through emails rather than mailing. Then it would be instantaneous, they would get it, they could email you back. You could even put, ask for a confirmation that they've read it, you know,
Right.
on that email. So
Right.
you know they've read it, they've
That's a
received
good
it.
idea.
And they can send their bids back as a PDF. Right.
That's
They
good.
can't
But they
do
can't,
that,
it
it has to
has
be
to be
sealed.
sealed.
They would still have to mail it or drop it off. But they
Sealed.
could at least get it and have the information, and you would have that confirmation and a read receipt that they've seen it and they've received it.
I think that's a good idea.
no, yeah.
What was that, Dave?
She asked what we were doing with the first one, I said, we haven't gone back to that one.
Oh,
We're gonna get
I
there.
bet you're talking to me. We'll get there this year, maybe. All right, we've got that covered, I think.
Yep.
Now we'll go back to
That's all.
the two
Hog
islands.
Creek.
Yeah, Hog Creek.
Yeah.
Did we need a motion to put it out to bid again?
Bob's gonna do it at a later date.
But do we need a motion to do that?
Probably ought to.
I'll move that I move that the road commission puts out bids at a later date for these materials.
Support.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, back to the bridge.
Now we're back to the bridge. Who wants to go first?
Our price covers it. Our initial submitted, we'll do it for our initial submitted bid price.
Included,
So it'll be a $0 ad.
and that's Mackenzie.
Correct.
I've been told that 3,500 additional for a total of 70,500. Now, does this mean you folks may still cut the piling to grade and set the beams, or you're not going to? You're just exploring what it would cost the contractors to do it.
So actually, see, that wasn't in the bid sheet.
Correct.
Right.
It really can't.
Yeah, that was our question. It was not in the original spec, in the bid sheet.
Right.
Okay,
Do you both anticipate a start date of when the bridge arrives?
When the bridge arrives, I would assume that they would start prior to that, to have it,
Correct.
prepped and ready when the bridge deck arrives.
Okay.
And that is, the end of September you're estimating? Is that what you said earlier?
And when,
Late August or early
Late
September.
August and middle September is when the bridge would be delivered to the
Okay.
site.
Late August.
And by bridge, you're including the piling in that.
Yes.
Mackenzie would be ready to go whenever you guys are ready for us. We can start tomorrow.
what's your pleasure?
I move we award the bid to E.T. McKenzie.
Second.
Any discussion?
Was it said that we dealt with E.T. McKenzie before?
Correct,
Yes.
And I assume we had no problems.
correct.
How long ago was it?
2 or 3 years.
Few years, I would say,
Okay,
within the last 5.
okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you. Any old business?
I have some questions. So, do we have any update on the territorial road bridges?
That was gonna come in my update that
Okay,
I
Well,
skipped over.
Oh, that's my fault.
Skipped over.
I was gonna come back to your update. Let's do your
Oh,
update.
okay,
Yeah.
all right,
and maybe
good
that will
cover.
answer most of the questions that I have.
Right,
I'm
right.
sorry.
Right, apparently. Pavement marking has begun. I don't know if you guys have been out and about and seen it, but they have started. We're focusing on the northwest quadrant of the county, and we're doing the hub, and then any projects, obviously, like North Adams Road, and that will be done. Actually, North Adams already is done. The territorial road east of Bird Lake Culvert that we're wanting to redo, we've sent the stream bed survey in to Scabina, and he recommends we have to do a little bit of field work to see if the upstream culvert is perched, or if it's buried more than 6 inches. If it's buried more than 6 inches, then we can put exactly the same size that is currently in there to replace it. If it is not done, then we have to do some extra things to the stream thing to keep that extra flow from going down to, or affecting those additional culverts.
So are you,
Yes,
you talking about the culvert that crosses
it's
Bird Lake
east of
Road,
Bird Lake Road, yes, and the culvert that crosses Bird Lake Road,
which
yes.
is north of territorial?
Yes,
We're afraid that if the one up there is perched, then it would cause upstream erosion, washing down, and then that would jeopardize that tube under Bird Lake Road.
right, it's just gonna do the same exact thing to that one. So he wants us to just go out, confirm how deep that Bird Lake one is buried, and then we can proceed. But it looks like we should be able to replace it with the exact same size that's there. So that's
How long is that tube in there that we need to replace?
How long is
Yeah,
it?
yeah, not how long, how long has it been there?
Oh.
Any idea?
You're older than I am.
good.